Thank you for joining us to learn about the importance of data visualizations within data analytics and dashboards. In this video, you will learn how we, as humans, are programmed to think visually and the importance of keeping visualizations clear and concise.
So let's get right to it and talk about the importance of data visualization. Just to level set, what is data visualization? Data visualization is a graph. So you're taking data, you're putting it into a picture, which will help us remember that data better. So when we talk about data visualization, the word chart, the word graph, use all these things independently. The dashboard is a collection of these data visualizations. At Infragistics, working on Reveal, we have charts, and we've had charts in our developer tools product for 30 years now. And then we start building a tool, Reveal, for dashboards, and we didn't know what to call it. Do we call it visualizations? Do we call them widgets in a dashboard? Do we call them charts, graphs, whatever? They all mean the same thing. It really boils down to that visual representation of the data to help you understand it better. And the reason this is important is because we are all programmed to think visually. If you look at this table really quickly, and I ask you who the tallest person is, or who are the three people in the middle that have a similar height, it would take you a few seconds to figure it out. But if I look at it at a graph, I actually can get an idea much quicker of the range of the heights of the individuals in my data set. Even better, using tools of the visualizations, if I sort the data, I can instantly tell. You can instantly say Bob, Jack, and Sandrine are in the middle somewhere. Stevie and Dr. Evil are the tallest. So without the visualization, it makes it very difficult to actually understand what the data is that you're looking at. The sad thing is there's millions or tens of millions of people that are making decisions based on tables today and not visualizations. The decisions would be made better, clearer, and there's all kinds of stories about disasters that happen because of looking at data incorrectly and not visually. And why does this happen? Because 65% of people are visual learners. We all say, oh, I need to actually see it and kind of like see what it looks like and play with it before I remember. That's totally normal. So if I look at a chart, I can easily remember Dr. Evil and Stevie were the tallest. If I looked at the table, because it's not a visual tool, it would be very difficult. Another interesting piece of information, I was actually in Germany in February giving a similar talk, and there was a study that came out that said we process images 60,000 times faster than text. So that's like the best argument right there to start looking at visualizations and including visualizations in what you're doing to tell stories about your data. And then it takes 13 milliseconds to recognize an image. So I look at when you're at a restaurant and you're going to the restroom and there's a picture on the wall of a male and a female. And these are like standard pictures. So instantly you know which way to go. The one thing I don't like is when you go to a Mexican restaurant and they have like the people dressed differently. They're trying to make it in their brand or their theme. Or you go to a German restaurant and there's a guy with a mug or a woman with a tray or something like that. Those aren't common images. So even though we can process images faster, we still don't immediately recognize what they mean. With data visualizations, there's probably about 30 to 50 different chart types of varying, adorners and whatnot. Maybe you could get up to 150, but they're very common. So having that standardized common way of looking at data, it makes it instantly recognizable to us to support why it really matters to use this visualization. And then what we remember, this as well, there's some great stories about this. One of the studies I talk about in another talk is a group of economists were given a report, and the report had typical economic data in tables, heavily laden with text, and then they were asked questions about that data afterwards. So the folks that, and then it was kind of split up, some had charts and graphs, some had tables. The folks that just had the tables and the text, they had like 4 out of 5 of the questions they answered were incorrect. The folks that had visuals plus text, they had 4 out of 5 correct instead of incorrect. So having a spoken word plus a visual, text plus a visual will make you remember it more. And it comes out all the time, and you'll see it today in our presentation. So this is really interesting. Microsoft did a study about this. So how do we pay attention? What's our attention span? So in 2000, and keep in mind, Microsoft watches everything you do, which I think is really interesting. You know, we worry about privacy and we always loop together Facebook, Google, and these other folks. But think about Microsoft. They've had Windows running on in your home and in your business for now going on 30 years, watching what you're doing, how quickly you do things, getting all of this information to be able to report on things like in 2000, the year 2000, the average attention span was 12 seconds. So that meant I'm looking at something, and in 12 seconds, I kind of have to look elsewhere. This has now fallen to 8 seconds. So in 20 years, we've dropped 4 seconds off of our attention span. And it's evident. You're in a meeting. People cannot just focus on what the topic is. Now it's worse with Teams and Zoom. People are typing during the meeting. They're looking off to the side. I'm looking off to the side because my camera's off to the side. My screen's over here. But the point is, it's evident in what we're doing, but it doesn't mean we got dumber. It just means that there's more stuff going on in our lives. We're getting pinged constantly by beeps on our phone, alerts on our screens, etc. But what this boils down to is a goldfish has a 9-second attention span. Humans have 8. So the human attention span now has fallen to less than a goldfish. You think about over evolution, a goldfish is basically just swimming around looking, you know, so there's really nothing to knock off their attention span numbers. Humans will continue to decrease because of all of the incoming stuff, and it's going to be harder and harder for us to focus on something for a long period of time. So everything that we do has to help the user, the reader, the viewer of what story we're trying to tell to make it stick. So we need to get people to really focus for those 8 seconds, maybe 12 seconds, whatever it is, to get them to remember that story we're trying to tell with our visualizations. So when we think about that, it really does make this topic, tools like Reveal, more important than ever. People have less attention span. They need to make decisions faster. The world is moving at like a 10x internet speed right now. So how do we help our users and our customers do this? We need to help everybody take this complex business data and make it consumable, help users make decisions, and to tell that story. And you'll even notice on this slide, and I do it in a couple other slides, I just highlight the words that are important. So immediately when you read this, you know, make it consumable, help make decisions, tell a story, it makes sense, move on. Let's get to it. We always have to put words around it to give the complete sentence, but that's the gist of it, and that's what you need to do in your visualizations. On the bottom, charts can tell a story. This is not a presentation on data storytelling. We have another presentation on that. Maybe we'll do a webinar on that as part of this series later in August. But there are 2 types of ways of presenting your story, either in an exploratory way or an explanatory way. And they are slightly different. And I use the word data storytelling, telling the story about your data, a lot in this presentation, because that's really what you're doing. You're creating a dashboard, or you're creating a visualization to tell a story to get to a result. And sometimes that result leads to more discussion. Sometimes it just leads to a decision immediately. But the idea is we are using data to tell a story to get to an end result.
Be sure to check out the next video in this series, Human Cognition and Data Visualization, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Reveal BI.